This week in gaming news, we'll headline
What did you
with
say we're going for? Oh, yeah.
going
Valve is
for
making a new game.
surprise.
Surprise. Well,
Valve does make games, apparently. Maybe.
either that or they've called their new Steam Deck Neon Prime.
I mean,
one or the two. So I do like the opening here.
Head crab botherers.
In a Rock Paper Shotguns article, head crab botherers Valve registered a trademark for something called Neon Prime this week. An application filing is revealed. The application was made through United States Patent and Trademark Office. Neon Prime's trademark was listed as for computer game software, electronic game software, video game programs download via the internet. Wow, patents are so weird.
Yeah, you're going to be so specific.
So not VR or Steam Deck hardware. Interesting. So
Half-Life 3 confirmed. I wish. God, I wish.
He goes on, the author CJ Wheeler here goes on to say, somehow I can't see this being Half-Life 3 Neon Prime. You never know. Valve hasn't released a game since Aperture Desk Job for Steam Deck earlier this year. Before that, we got the VR spin-off of Half-Life Alyx was that in 2020 already? Oh my God. I don't know. Some people are suggesting this could be a new IP. I highly doubt that. Valve hasn't made a new IP since Portal, so
whatever, man. Aperture Desk Job. What is this?
Well, I
didn't even know that was
Portal.
a thing.
That's the sort of 30-minute demo on the Steam Deck.
Okay.
It's really not that excessive. It's literally just a 30-minute demo.
Nice. Well, so I guess we'll see at some stage. I don't know. Valve makes good games when they're not making hats and just making $1 trillion off their own storefronts.
Yes.
So I'd really love to see them, dip their toes into making actual narrative games again.
Actually, it would be cool.
The last thing they made was, what is that Dota 2 card game? Oof, that was not good.
Artifact, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that was called Artifact. Yeah.
Weirdly, it just didn't survive. I thought that game would have survived because it's Dota. But yeah, I guess let's wait and see what Valve has planned.
I'm keen for something new from Valve. I kind of hope it is. I mean, Neon Prime could be the code name for a new Half-Life thing. It doesn't mean it's called Neon Prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, they said they're going to be doing more Half-Life stuff because Alyx really popped off. So I could see it.
I could see it too. What news do you want to pivot to? How do you follow? I suppose, speaking of VR, I'll just talk about this quickly. MetaQuest Pro announced, costs 3 PS5s. It's expensive. So
I don't understand.
Facebook has officially launched MetaQuest Pro, the more expensive sibling to the MetaQuest 2, formerly known as Oculus Quest 2, and released a full list of specs for the device. MetaQuest Pro will cost you $1,500 and will ship starting October 25th.
It's an impressive headset. There is some shit in there that is genuinely cutting edge for VR, but and I guess to an extent, Meta made this very clear in their conference. This is not a consumer device. This is not meant for...
Yeah.
You can absolutely purchase it and just play games in it, but that's not what it's priced for. That's not what it's designed for. It's designed for workplace VR and workplace metaverse stuff, which again, I'm just like, if your idea is mass adoption of devices so that you can push this idea of the metaverse, surely you price it in a way that most people are going to buy it then. What workspace on earth looks at this and goes, yeah, shit, that's a deal.
You could spend $1,500 and get this.
Love it. That's exactly what I want instead of a monitor.
Oh my God. Cool. So
I don't understand who this is for. I genuinely do not understand.
It's just coming out. You can play Beat Saber with the... I don't
in
know.
AR,
In AR,
which is pretty cool. So you don't need to have the whole futuristic thing. You can just see your cat staring at you while you wave your arms like a maniac.
Well, if I
or
could,
you can spy on your neighbor watching you while you
Oh my
wave your
God.
arms like a maniac.
What I will say is that I'm glad. So I haven't invested in a VR device myself, not yet. I am glad that VR is clearly here to stay. Like I think when VR sort of reared its head a few years ago, there was some question marks on, like we've seen VR in the past, it didn't stick. Now we've got PSVR 2 around the corner. We've got this year. We've got other devices just being made. So that's cool. Yeah.
I think VR is still here. I think VR has definitely solidified itself as you know I think the idea was people are like, oh, VR has to replace traditional gaming for it to be a success, and it's like, nah, that's super not what it's going to do. But it's successfully complemented it, like you've said. I think it's definitely here to stay. I think PSVR 2 is going to be a banger. I'm very excited for that. So yeah, I mean, PSVR 2 launches the Half-Life Alyx. That is a 100% day one purchase for a lot of
Good
people.
Lord.
And as it should be, because that game is incredible. So, yeah.
What news do you want to pivot off to? What do you want to talk about? Let me stop.
This Nvidia stuff, this is so weird. I've never in my life seen something like this. So
what is happening?
You'll recall that Nvidia announced 3 GPUs last month, the RTX 4090, which just launched this week, and then 2 RTX 4080s, the 16 gigabyte version and the 12 gigabyte version. Now, Nvidia got a lot of flack after the announcement because at first it seemed like the difference was just the amount of VRAM that you're getting in the card. But when people actually got access to the full specs, the cards are not the same, like not even close. So you're getting fewer CUDA cores, you're getting a narrower memory interface, so you're getting much lower memory bandwidth overall. You're getting far fewer transistors in the card. So it's not just a memory, deficit. It's like a performance, like to the point where in NVIDIA's graphs, there were instances where the 16 gig card was outperforming the 12 gigabyte card by 30%, and yet they're both 4080s.
Yeah.
So, NVIDIA at the time were like, oh no, we still want to call this a 4080 because we believe its performance is in the 4080 class. And that is a fucking strange way to think about something. You're like, what does that mean? That's all relative. You know what I mean? So it seems like the flack didn't let up, and they have indefinitely delayed this card. As in, they put out a statement saying they are unlaunching it, which is bizarre. So the 16 gigabyte card is still coming in November. This 12 gigabyte card is just not coming. Like, maybe it will be rebranded as a 4017 release later down the line. But this thing is straight, which now makes the baseline price of a new 40 series card much higher, because this 12 gigabyte version was $900 MSRP. The 16 gigabyte is $1,200, so $300 more, or 33% more. So yeah, you cannot buy a new 40 series card for lower than $1,200 this time around, which is, I think, which was the highest price for their highest card last generation, the 3090, if I'm not mistaken. Sure. So, I mean, the 4090, based on reviews, seems like a phenomenal card, like so phenomenal in fact that it is actually useless to buy if you do not have like a 4K display, because it in some cases it is actually even hitting CPU limits on 4K displays. So on a 1440p one, you might not even see a difference to your game if you are already running at like games at like 120, because it's just going to hit a CPU limit, and you will actually be wasting the performance of this, locally priced,
sounds like
35,000, 40,000 rand. Yeah, it 100% makes sense now why Nvidia priced it like this, because if they priced it any lower, the 30 series cards would just never sell. There is absolutely zero reason to purchase one. Now, if you can get a 3080 Ti for $600, $700, a third of the price of a 4090, and you've got a 1440p screen, that makes tons more sense, because you're getting the performance you need at the hardware level you have, and it costs a third. of what you're paying for it's $40K for a 4090. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well,
so yeah, I would honestly, I mean, most reviewers echoed this, like Digital Foundry and whatever. They're like, be very sure that you actually need this level of performance because there's seriously very few people in the world who require this.
Yeah.
Aside from the people who just have a lot of money and want to be on the cutting edge just because. So I think if you've got a 3070, 3080, 3090, you're probably good. You're honestly probably good.
For a while, at least.
For a while. I think probably even until the next gen. For the next 2 years.
Yeah.
You'll probably be playing things above 60, no problem up until then.
You could play games like Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales coming to PC never made. What a segue. Yes, I should get paid for this.
Yes, should get paid triple.
So we played Spider-Man Remastered a couple months ago on PC. It looks so good.
Very good.
Miles Morales, arguably better looking game just because, Miles has access to
also
different abilities. Better game in general. It's a different aesthetic. It's Christmas time. Miles has
so much neon lighting,
super flashy abilities. It's going to look real pretty on PC.
Yeah,
so
I'm very, very keen to play this on PC. I'm also hoping now that there's been enough time between Remastered and this one that they've addressed some of the issues in Remastered.
That as well,
yeah, specifically just the issues with CPU performance. Like the game is like really, really CPU bound to the point where I've got a pretty decent CPU and that thing was not allowing me to run like a solid 60 even.
Yeah.
And it's the CPU. So Digital Foundry has noted that it is like there's some heavy CPU usage here. So I hope they've ironed that out a little bit.
If you want ultimate ray tracing 4K at 60 FPS, you're just going to need a casual 3080 or a AMD RX 6950. Along with an i7 12700. 12,700.
That's
all the Ryzen 9
CPU.
5900. But that's ultimate ray tracing. You can get by with
ultimate ray tracing. Oh, but that's at 4K as well.
That's at 4K.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. No,
that's crazy. Yeah, this game's coming out. I'm very keen to dabble with this on PC.
Just want to get that good bodega cat in my
of course, look at this. It's too good.
I've realized after owning cats that bodega cat is a lie. As soon as Spider-Man starts swinging, that cat would yeet itself out of the
bag. 100%. Really would. Cool.
Let's see what's next.
Should
we quickly chat about this Modern Warfare thing?
Yes.
So I don't know if it's actually a requirement for people here locally, because I
think it was.
Yeah, new players to Overwatch were required, or Overwatch 2 were required to use a SMS text message verification process. That essentially meant like you needed to have a cell phone number attributed to the account you were using. For, I don't know, security purposes, so that you can create stupid Smurf accounts or whatever.
Yeah.
So initially it was reported that the same would be happening for Modern Warfare 2, despite the requirement being dropped for Overwatch 2 after there was a lot of flack because people were like, well, on prepaid numbers, especially in the States, they can't use the service, which is real, classism in a way. Not everyone wants to be tied to a contract.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. Like, that's kind of fucking ridiculous. But so it was initially reported that this was the same for Modern Warfare 2, that it would have this entire system. It's not really true. This system has kind of always been there for Modern Warfare 2, back to like Warzone in May 2020, as Polygon notes here in this article. It also is only a requirement for PC players. So...
Okay.
It's not the same.
No.
It's not the same, is what I'm saying. Like, if you're playing Call of Duty on consoles, you don't have to worry about this. If you're playing on PC, this is something you've been dealing with for the past 2 years already. So, yeah. It is what it is.
Well, there you go.
That's all I have to say about that.
A latest Elden Ring patch suggests visual improvements and DLC maps coming. I love this. The Lands Beyond. Oh, what a strap on. So I don't know if you've looked at the patch notes. I've skimmed through them. I think the most significant thing is that they're separating how PvE and PvP weapons are balanced. How the two work, essentially. Spells and weapons and all of that will be balanced differently across the two, which is really nice, because if you want to have a broken ass build in single player, I don't know why you should be punished in PvP. Like, you should be able to separate the two, if that makes sense. You know, you know this. You use the Rivers of Blood katana because it's a real good weapon. If you rocked up in PvP with that, people will shit all over you, saying, "How dare you use this weapon here in PvP?"
Yeah.
I don't know. But what's the most exciting part of this patch is that it looks like the DLC is it's there somewhere.
It's underway.
It's underway.
There are plans being cooked up. Yeah,
I think
two new maps sounds pretty much what I would expect from a DLC. Yeah, that sounds
quite keen to see what they have planned, because this game, chef's kiss. Really excited to play just more of it.
Oh yeah, I'd be keen to see. I mean, if this. So apparently, you know, this patch also alludes to ray tracing. That was From Software actually said that they were doing that before the game came out. It was just a matter of when. I'm curious. I suspect this will only be on PC though. I just don't. The level of performance it is on console, I just don't see it happening.
They could maybe get away with it if you lock to 30 FPS, but why would you want to do that?
I mean, they already have a mode that locks to 30 at 4K. I also just wouldn't play it at 30. No, so, like, if the ray tracing's at 30, it's like, well, that's nice. I will just turn that on to look at it for a bit and be like, cute.
That's nice.
And then turn it back. Yeah, exactly. There's no way I'm compromising that smoothness just for ray tracing. Unfortunately, game looks fucking great already, so I don't.
It really does.
Yeah.
And then last pieces of news: fans think Phil Spencer's shelf is teasing the Xbox Game Pass streaming box. This was the original article, but update: Xbox confirms old Keystone prototype.
Yeah, so, you know, as has become tradition with Phil Spencer now, he just puts shit on his shelf and people scope it out and they're like, oh, that's
oh my God, I can't believe this.
So, yeah, the most recent was, I think it was for, he was talking about, like, Fallout hitting a 25-year anniversary. People noticed the small little white rectangle on the top of his shelf that almost looked like a baby Xbox One. And turns out that's an old prototype for Xbox Keystone, which was essentially, for all intents and purposes, a streaming stick that you connected to a display that hooked you up to Xbox Cloud Gaming. Yeah. But in May earlier this year, as noted here by Eurogamer, Xbox confirmed it was pivoting away from the streaming box. And I think that's because they've realized they can just as easily develop apps for specific devices. They've already got a Xbox Cloud Gaming app on Samsung TVs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's actually quite...
That makes way more sense.
Yeah, it's clever. You completely mitigate the hardware investment. You still get like the same results. So.
You just sell a controller and the controller's all Bluetooth and they hook up to the TV and that's that. So
it's too good.
Yeah.
And then last piece of news this week: John Carpenter would still like to make a Dead Space film. Acclaimed director says it would make a real great movie. Agree.
I'd be fucking keen. I'd be so keen. I mean, the director and creator of Halloween and The Thing making a Dead Space. Yeah, fucking sign me up. Even if he just did a score, like if he composed the score for it, like I'd be super keen. So,
see, we say this, but video game movies traditionally not good. But I'd be
also
keen
true.
To see
also true.
A Dead Space movie.
I mean, Dead Space was in a way inspired by John Carpenter's thing. So, yeah, I think it would be a good choice. Dead Space is one of those like video game movies that could actually be like really, really good because like horror games are to an extent.
Like many movies,
you know, they're perfectly paced for films, so you can do a lot of things beat for beat. I say this, but we got a really terrible Doom film not so long ago, so Well, quite a long
Well,
while
but
ago
I mean,
now. But
okay, I mean, Doom, modern day Doom is not a horror game. I think
no.
those
But
Doom
they based it off of
sequels,
Doom 3, which was a horror game.
Yeah, Doom 3 was like a hardcore sequel, but then it's funny because they gave that quote unquote horror game like the Doom 2016 treatment.
That movie is fucking terrible.
The game is just pathetic.
And with a really good cast. Like
yeah.
Dwayne Johnson, Carl Urban, Rosamund Pike, like how did that happen? Like,
I don't know.
It's real bad. It's got a real cool scene though where it changes to first person. It's real stupid. I love it.
It's dumb, but you're like, oh man, that's like playing a game. Wow.
Yeah. When they pull out the BFG, it's a great time. Love it.
It's good. It's too good. But yeah, so John Carpenter making a Dead Space film, I'd watch that.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I would. Yeah. It just reminds me that the third Halloween movie is out, I think, this week.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it's not good again, which fucking sucks because that reboot was so good and then they fucked it up with these 2 sequels.
Hate to see it.
Cool. Yeah, really depressing.
That is gaming news for this week.